Hey everybody, Professor Doom here. Just a couple of videos that I'm going to pump out here this morning before heading out to work. So I want to give you guys my take on what is going on here. And I'm going to use an analogy to best explain how I'm seeing all of this that is taking place. So earlier this morning, there was a 6.7 earthquake that struck the Philippines approximately, I don't know, it was many miles down. And as you can see, the epicenter right here that's being displayed. So 77 kilometers in depth. Yes. So what is that, about 48 miles deep, something around there? I want you to take a look at all of the earthquake activity that has been going on around the world. And we will take a look at just today, or just in the past 24 hours. Then we're going to look at 48 hours. And then we're going to look at the past week. And as you guys will already know, there has been thousands upon thousands of earthquakes that has been striking Iceland around the Reykjanes, however you pronounce that volcano over there. And there has been some splitting of the topography there, the splitting of the earth. There has been houses that have been split apart. You guys can see all that. We're not going to dive too deep into showing you the visuals on all of that. But let me show you the visuals, and I'm going to give you an analogy of what I'm seeing here. Are all of the earthquakes, and all volcanoes, active, non-active, and some that are reactionary, some that are reacting but haven't fully erupted yet on the earthquakes.volcano discovery. These are just the earthquakes that I'm directing your attention at. And that was just the past 24 hours. Let's take it the past 48 hours. Okay. Let's take a look at the past week. Let's take a look at the past 2 weeks. Do you see how many very large earthquakes have struck all over the place? Okay. And as you can see, that's a lot of activity. And I might want to add that you have a lot of volcanoes going off not only in the same day, but actually simultaneously. And I don't mean that they're going off as we speak. I mean that there are some that began erupting simultaneously. Very, very interesting. And, my heart goes out to all the people of Iceland who have been having been evacuated over the situation there. There are thousands upon thousands of earthquakes striking there. We'll take a look at that. Although most of these are very minimal in size, there has been one that was a while ago. I do believe it was yesterday. That was a 4.0 or something around there. But these are in the thousands. Look at the times, and you just look. They strike every few minutes, or even some of them within the same minute. Just take a look at that right there. Okay, so now let me take you back and let me give you guys an analogy that all of you can wrap your mind around. I want you to imagine that our Earth is a car tire. Okay? How many of you have seen a car tire, especially the front tires, that where all of the weight of the engine, most of the weight is found right there in the front of the car? How many times have you seen a bulge sticking out of the front tire because the belts have split apart and the air has escaped past the belts and created a bulge, pretty much because your tire was weak in that area? Well, you got to remember something. That tire is holding a lot of weight, okay? Now I want you to think that there is a celestial body that is, you think of that engine and the front of the car as being gravity. As the gravity, because of the weight, is resting on the tire, well, of course, the springs and everything else, but of course, that weight, the tire is holding all of that weight, okay? Think of a celestial body, and that celestial body's gravity, the engine, the front of the car, is pressing down upon the earth. Well, it's pressing down, and that gravity pressure on the earth is causing the core to heat up. And I want you to think of that the core, the magma, everything else inside of our earth, that is the air that is escaping through the belts, the weaknesses in the tire, or i.e., the earth. Does that make sense to everybody? Is this why we're seeing all of these volcanoes going off? Because of that pressure, remember, the air pressure, tire, escaping through weak points of the belts. The volcanoes are the weak points where that pressure is coming through. Well, you got to remember, the volcano doesn't have a rubber covering like that tire does. Okay? So all of this is escaping. We're seeing all of these earthquakes because you have just think of this. Think of when you have a bulge in the tire, and as the tire's rotating, what happens? You can feel it. Boom, 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 right? As our earth is spinning. And I know some of you guys don't agree with this analogy because of that, because your proclivities to however you feel that the earth is formed. But you have earthquakes going off constantly now. Constantly. And I do believe, indeed, as Planet X YouTube channel has been showing us, there is an anomalous object that can be seen. This anomalous object appears to be way, way, way much larger than Earth. Not only would this object have a gravitational force exerted on our planet, causing exactly what we're seeing going on right now, but it would also have a gravitational effect on our sun. And what would we be seeing coming from our sun due to the gravitational effects from this planet? Would we be seeing explanation or some kind of CMEs coming from our sun due to that gravitational disturbance caused by this celestial object? And I do believe this explains everything of not only what we're seeing going on our Earth, but what we're seeing that is coming from our sun directed towards our Earth. Does that fit with everybody in an analogy that they could easily understand? I have never, and when I started doing this back in 2014, making videos, and you had individuals such as Dutch Sense and others that would cover earthquake anomalous activities. I never saw this much earthquake activity back then as we are seeing now. It has been increasing over time. And the only thing that makes sense to me as the cause for all of this would be a celestial object that is getting ever closer and closer. And as it is closest to the sun as well, we're seeing more and more anomalous sun activity as well. CMEs, solar flares. What about these auroral lights that everybody has been talking about? Does this compute with everybody as it does with me, or am I just reaching? You guys tell me in the description box. I got one more video to make that I think you guys are going to find very interesting regarding a certain Mr. Slade Sommer, friend to John Podesta and the alleged Pizzagate debunker himself. Thanks, everybody.